Welcome back, guys, to the channel. So today we're going to do a little rundown of yesterday's or this week's previous drawings, see where we're about today and see where the market could be going either tomorrow or next week. So today is Thursday the 5th of June 2025 and it is currently 8 p.m. UK time. So straight off the bat, we're going to jump in with AUDUSD. I said yesterday, potential now for a pullback to around this higher high. We had a little bit of a break and retest here, bounce back from this level again, shot back up, come back down, sort of consolidated in this area before deciding to push up. Tapped in to this previous high here and now it has come back down. So I said yesterday I would be looking for a buy somewhere within this region right here, to then look for a buy back to the upside. So if we're looking off something like this and then maybe target here, for example, just to be safe, it's a nice little 5-to-1 straight off the bat. But obviously, you know, just because it's in this area, you do not want to buy just because it taps in. You want to be looking for other things. So this is where we drop it down. So 2 hours, we have a little fair value gap right here straight off the bat that I can see. So let's just draw that out. I'm going to change the color just to make it a little bit easy for you. Where am I? Let's just fit it in green for now. Oh, that's a horrible green. Yeah. You know what? Sorry, we'll just do that. So we have a fair value gap. It has pushed down from here and from here. So, you know, this area could have a potential for a buy. So if we just draw that right there, because we have a fair value gap and resistance, not once but twice at this level, you could risk buying here. However, if you can see something below it, don't buy the first thing. It's just like walking into a shop, seeing a pair of shoes. Don't just buy the first thing that you see. Have a look around, you know what I mean? So we have a fair value gap here and support at the bottom, which was justified by the bigger time frame, as we have here. So personally, I would be looking, again, if you just drop it down a little bit more to make it that little bit easy, not too low. You don't want to be going too low because it just makes life so much harder. Personally, I would be tapping in maybe around this level where the fair value gap and the support touch. So again, something like that. Stop loss just below, maybe set it just below this candle here. So we've got a 5 pip stop loss, and if we was to target the top, that would give us a nice 5-to-1 risk to reward, which is pretty decent. Again, don't just buy just because it taps in, kind of like this, for example. So yes, it tapped in, sound, instantly would have hit stop loss. You don't want to do that. You want to be looking for these movements that are pushing out. Okay, so kind of like this one, you know, it tapped in. You don't want to buy on this case, you know, would have worked out for the best. You would have hit TP. However, you want to be buying on these candles, these nice big bullish candles. You know what I mean? So again, don't just buy. You'd have been tapped out. Buy as it's leaving on these bullish candles. On these bullish candles. Do not just buy just because it's there. If you're unsure or if you're a bit, you know, 50-50, just sit on your hands, don't click nothing. Because at the end of the day, you will lose, and the more you're clicking buttons, the more you're gonna have that risk of losing. So if you're not clicking, you're not losing. Very, very simple. So I'm still buy bias on AUDUSD. Moving on to Bitcoin, looks like it has reached our support at the bottom. I'll be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if it pulls back down a little bit more over the next couple of weeks. So if we was to draw a Fibonacci right here within the golden zone, I mean, you do have these levels as well to aim for. Golden zone is most commonly traded area, and straight off the bat we have a fair value gap. We have a little bit of resistance which could turn into support, so maybe around the 6-1 area. So again, if we whittle this down a little bit, you can see, so let's just narrow this area down a little bit. Let's maybe just oh, actually no, let's put that back, sorry, we want to stick to the fair value gaps. So let's just narrow this down a little bit. So again, straight away, still sticking to that 61 area. There is a little bit of consolidation here that moved up eventually, and if we draw a bit of a trend line, oh my gosh, why am I using arrow? If we was to draw a little bit of trend line against that, you know, it looks like it could head down back towards this level, tap in here somewhere. So I would be, that's on the daily, so that's over the next couple of days still. Again, look, tapped in. This is why it best to do top down analysis. So starting from the weekly, right there, we can see our areas. Let's just whittle it down a little bit, start to just see a better picture of what's going on. So yeah, we had this change of character here, consolidate a little bit, push up, consolidated, push up. So we had this area here repeated twice, not once but twice. You know, history does repeat itself quite often. However, now I can see something which is called a head and shoulders formation. So we have a left shoulder, head, and a right shoulder. So shoulder, head, shoulder. So if we was to draw a little bit of support from the bottom, just a few times where everything has tapped into it, I would genuinely think it's going to do something like this and then back to the downside. So just retest this neckline somewhere across here. So as of tomorrow, I am pretty much sell side. Actually, let me put that back and then run it on the 4 hour. So that is my bias. So again, if you just come down the chart a little bit, you can see here a couple of tap-ins. You know, you don't want to be worried about hitting every single one. Just get a couple, 2, 3, 4 tap-ins. You know, ideally you want 3 or more, and then break and retest. So I am sell side on Bitcoin USD. Looks like it's still coming down, and again, this is obviously why you want to use the bigger time frames, because it just, all that's happened in that within the last 4 hours, if you do this, it's like, right, you know what I mean, it's just a lot of consolidation sideways. It's just, you know, a lot of potential losses. Yeah, okay, you could win some, but there's a lot of potential losses. It's just sideways. Whack that into the 4 hour, and straight away it just makes life so much easier. Right, moving on to the next one. So buy side AUDUSD, sell side Bitcoin USD, EURGBP. Looks like it has pushed up and come down. It's quite a massive wick right there. Let me just check the bias. I'll be honest, I am still buy side, even though that weekly candle is bearish. I am still buy side. There is now, in my opinion, a lot of liquidity here that needs to be taken out. Well, it doesn't need to, but could do with being taken out. We've tapped back in, so I generally reckon something like this back up to the top. You know, there is a fair value gap right here, which it has respected quite a few times now. We're in support, which it has respected quite a few times now. So personally, I think if it breaks this top here and retests, look for a buy side back to this liquidity right here, right on this level. So that is me for EURGBP. I am buy side. Still think it will run in a buy side. EURUSD, straight off the, I keep saying straight off the bat quite a lot, don't I, to be honest. I'm still buy side, still buy side, still buy side. We have got some higher highs, higher lows, which has been created. Where are we with there right now? So if we drag it to the side, we can see that it's created higher highs, higher lows. You know, if you draw a little bit of support in there, which it respected from this high, kind of like what I said about the other ones where it creates a high, use that resistance as support for the pullbacks. Didn't quite get one on this level, but if you was to draw, you know, a trend line, something like that, you could say it broke, and there you go. It's not perfect because obviously I might have drawn off a different candle, but you could say now it has broken that trend line. Let's just drop it down a little bit. You know, there's obviously a couple of tap-ins there, 3 tap-ins I'd say. Oh gosh, so I am buy side still with EURUSD. Again, what did I say? Don't just buy just because it comes in. You want to be looking like these ones, for example, right? As it's come in, buy the candles that are going out. Okay, so you know, stop loss just below. I like to, oh gosh, I'll get a little bit OCD with my stop losses. So I would have said somewhere around, so 20 would have been too short. I'd have probably rounded up to either 22 or 25 because my OCD kicks in, and you would have hit, you know, straight back up the top again, 3 to 1. You would have been close to stop loss on this one, but again, this is where you come just below. Or, you know, again, let's say you bought that one, you would have hit very minimal drawdown, but again, still hit TP. Same scenario here. You know, just because it comes in, do not buy. You want to be buying these nice bullish candles as they leave. So let's say you bought this one, stop loss just below where we are, so that's 14. I'd have probably gone 15 or 18 maybe. Either way, you know, you would have hit TP easy, 4 to 1, target back up the top. You could add a 2.5 to 1. But again, you want to be buying these nice bullish candles because again, let's say you bought this bullish one instead. Let's say you missed that one because you were sleeping or whatever. As it's coming out, these big bullish candles, look, buy that, no drawdown, straight to TP, all day, all day. So again, I would be doing the same here now. I'll be waiting for that push up and a pullback, ready to take the top. Or if we was to come across a little bit, you could target some of these levels over here, maybe. Didn't click it, maybe a TP there, maybe a TP there. All depends on whether you want to hold it, whether you just want a nice little 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1. All comes down to personal choice. But for, oh my gosh, but for me, my personal opinion is EURUSD. You know, buying on this high here. You know what we said before, creating higher highs, higher lows. So similar to this, so there's our high, there's our high. Draw that across, wait for it to pull back in, and then buy, kind of like this here. There's our high, it's broke through, come back, retest our high, turn from resistance to support. Exactly the same, exactly the same. So buy side EURUSD in my opinion. GJ, right, a fan favorite. Looks like we've respected, didn't quite tap in, but we have respected the trend line. Weekly is bullish, daily is bullish. We've got higher highs, higher lows forming. It has tapped in from there on the trend line, pushed up. So again, leaving everything exactly how it is. I'm not changing anything. I will, oh gosh, I am still bullish for GJ, but again, I personally would only be buying as it comes into this area, you know, or the trend line. But again, I would be waiting. I wouldn't just buy. I would just, you know, assess it, see what's happening. There is news tomorrow, so again, is that the 10th? What's the date today? 7th, isn't it? Okay, ignore me. No news tomorrow, so Fridays are a bit of a dead day anyway, you know. So potentially just wait and see what happens. No stress. I personally would rather be trading the others than GJ. This one's a bit of a miss for me, in my opinion. GU looks like we've broke out of our area. Looks like instead of just tapping into these lows, it took a bit more and came into this liquidity here. We have valid higher highs, higher lows forming all the way up. So again, exactly the same as GJ or any of these. Wait for that break and retest. So we broke. We're now going to retest back to the high and then aim to take out the liquidity. So we've got a buy. Let's say stop loss just below. What's that? 6 pips. You could either aim here. I mean, that's a 4-to-1. Or if you held it right to the top, that's basically a 10-to-1. Absolutely insane. You know, if you wanted a bit more playing it, 10 pips, still a 5-to-1. Or you could have a stop loss all the way down here. I mean, a 2-to-1 is literally 30 pips. You know, I probably won't have it there. I'll probably have it about 10 pips if I'm honest. Give yourself room to breathe. You don't want to get stopped out within the first 5-10 minutes. Give yourself a bit of room. Let it run a little bit. Happy days. So still buy side for GU. USDJPY. Okay, looks like it has respected our support still. So you've got a tap, a tap, a tap. You know, lots of buyers in this zone. We've got 4 taps. We've got the first 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's valid support. Let's have a look at the weekly. So it's sell side weekly, daily. We are bullish. However, I do think it is going to come down if I'm honest. That is just again my personal opinion. Looks like at the minute we're sort of tapping into these lows here. Again, if you just bring the chart down a little bit, you can see these lows I was on about. You know, so if I draw that something like this just to show you, you can see right there what I just said. So personal opinion, I think it will come down. We are in that golden zone on the Fibonacci. I do think it will come down, but again, would I sell here? No, because it's just in the middle of everything. Wait for that break and retest. So that is what I would be doing for USDJPY, unless obviously it pushes up past these supports, all these supports here, and resistance, break, retest. But at the minute, you know, I do think it will come down on USDJPY, but I could be wrong. You never know with the markets. Just sit on your hands, wait for something to play out. So it's in the middle of both our zones. So at the minute, not interested in USDJPY. However, I do think it's coming down. XAUUSD. This is just something I entered earlier. Beautiful, beautiful entry, straight to TP, no drawdown, right on that candle open. Sorry, there would have been a little bit of drawdown, but nothing too crazy. Straight to TP, stop loss just below, take out these highs. Beautiful, beautiful trade. So I'll get back to that in a minute. But as you can see, I like to mark up the weekly and where it's going and everything. All-time highs and the lows, where the year started, because I do follow gold. Gold is probably the main asset I trade. As you guys know, if you've watched any of my previous videos, I've been very unlucky over the last week and the week before. Been unfortunate. This one hit TP, so I had this trade I took live. That hit TP. I wanted to enter here, so for break, pullback, just didn't tap in, so I was unfortunate there, did not tap in, so I missed that one. Patience is a virtue. wait for the pullbacks. I nearly sold here on this trend line. Again, I just didn't want to risk it, you know, etc, etc. So that would have hit TP. I I was gonna enter, believe it or not. Here I was gonna enter in my own personal account. It just kept coming down though, so I didn't enter there, and then it tapped the trend line, and I was humming and ahhing and humming and ahhing and humming and ahhing. Shall I, shan't I? Shall I, shan't I? Debating it. At the time there was news, and I just sat on my hands, but that would have just hit TP instantly. So what's that, like 3-4 trades I missed out on. I had a break here, came back down. I didn't want to sell. I was looking for the buys because I tend to buy gold more because I feel gold tends to go up more than it comes down. I was gonna buy here, however, similar to this, I thought, oh, it's gonna respect the trend line. Waited and it just didn't tap in. You know, so I got mugged off from this last experience. I thought, oh, it'll repeat itself, it'll ignore this, tap the trend. It didn't, so I didn't enter. But again, that would have hit TP. Very, very unfortunate. I missed. No, I didn't miss this one, sorry. I was gonna enter, but I was gonna enter at this level here, and it didn't tap in. Very unfortunate. I had my buy stop set, or buy limit, whichever one it is, set. So as soon as it tapped in, but it just didn't. And I think come like 3-4 o'clock I looked and it was like up here. I was like, oh, typical. So that was unfortunate. You know, that would have been a nice little win streak if I'm honest. That would have been like what, 5-6 in a row, something like 1, 2. Which one did I say I was going to sell? This one. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, that would have been 6 in a row. I entered this one, so this would have been 7 in a row. You know, beautiful tap in. Bought not as it tapped in, which was there. I bought as it was starting to leave on this candle open. So when this candle closed, literally this candle opened, I bought, and then just literally within what, couple of hours, an hour, 2 hours, straight to TP. So that was a beautiful, beautiful trade. And again, this is why you don't just enter just because it comes in. So let's say you bought again, after this trade you won, you'd have lost. So that is why you wait. Bit of patience. I am still bullish on gold. However, good gosh, it's been a long day. However, I think it needs to just, you know, it's just sort of in no man's land at the minute. We've got a trend here, we've got a trend here. Tell me needs to decide which way it needs to go. But as of now, I think tomorrow I'm gonna just, you know, call it a day. No trading. It's a Friday. Don't want to spoil the profits from this week and end up losing and ruining your weekend. Just save your profits, have a long weekend. It's a Friday, and the day, relax. But that is my analysis on the favorites that I've selected. If you have watched the video to the end, I would appreciate it if you could subscribe, drop us a like. I try and do a video every day just of my own personal analysis, trades I've taken, as I've just said, with that buy there, and also ones that I've potentially took, ones that I've lost, etc, etc. Hopefully just try and grow, get a nice little community going, and peace out.